Oh God, this is terrifying.
They built this prison in the shape of a cross, but it's an upside down cross to send a message.
Should I say the prayer?
I think they cut the bottoms of their legs off so they couldn't rise from the dead and come forth. We started finding mutilated animals. She had 3 claw marks down her back.
It is unbelievably quiet in here.
I was home? Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
There's over 10,000 documented deaths here.
Can you turn that light on if there's a demon in this prison?
Demon area? Well, the person was possessed.
I'm feeling weird. This is a little bit insane what I'm about to do. Tonight we're at the bloodiest, most violent prison in American history, Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary.
You were meant to be together. Think you'll make the perfect pair.
Now this place is absolutely horrific with its history, with over 10,000 deaths occurring right here in these buildings, and a possible demonic presence walking and haunting these halls, even attacking employees.
You go and bother him, he's gonna leave you blue. The echoes of the past will come right back to you.
This place is not a joke, and this video is not for the faint of heart. We're about to dive deep into the darkness. We've already experienced some really strange paranormal activity during our interview, and on this very cold, very scary night here, welcome to the Paranormal Files.
Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary in Morgan County held some of the worst criminals in Tennessee.
A girl that I had a date with called there. When I answered the phone, my mother, she come out of her bedroom and screamed and sang another one of them little whores. It was just like I snapped, and I hung up the phone, and I went and got a rifle and shot her. Then I carried her, dumped her in the river, and went on my date.
Hughley was given a life sentence for killing his mother, but 5 years later, while incarcerated at a different facility, he killed again.
It was June the 30th of 1991 when I stabbed another inmate, 67.
After receiving a life sentence for killing the inmate, Hughley committed a second prison murder. He stabbed a counselor 36 times with a homemade shank.
I mean, it had gotten to the point of where he made so many derogatory statements toward me. So I sat down and I formulated a plan. And the plan was to kill him, get the death penalty, use the state of Tennessee's lethal injection as a means of I was walking toward him and I had the homemade shank in my left hand. And I swung and I hit him through his right lung. He fell off of the stool, and I was stabbing through his arms to get to his vital organs. I wanted to put so many holes in him that there was no chance that he could survive. My philosophy has always been, if you put enough holes in them, they can't plug them all, and the chances are they're gonna die.
Hughley was sentenced to death for the killing of the counselor and transferred to Brushy Mountain.
So Brushy Penitentiary is one of those places that, like being an empath, I guess, really makes me uneasy. The size, the history, and whenever I go into a place like that, you just have really no idea who I'm going to talk to or feel. And there's so much that's happening in that place that gave me a lot of uneasiness again up front.
So Brushy Mountain Penitentiary Prison is a place that scares me. This is one of the only places in the U.S. that I've ever done a full solo investigation of. I was there with Omar a couple of months ago, and I did the whole prison alone. And let me tell you that the evil that's at that place is just unfathomable. I mean, you step in there and you can just feel the torture and the anguish. You had beheadings, you had murders, you had people taking their own lives, you had all other sorts of assaults that didn't kill people but occurred on a daily basis. Whippings, beatings, people that were being assaulted in sexual ways by other guards, you know. The guards were the bad ones there. It's not all of the guards, but there were a lot of bad apples on both sides of the prison walls, you know. And so when you have a place like Brushy that's so big and filled with so much dark and evil history, you don't really know where to start. And that's why we needed to start off by getting a tour of the property and really digging deep into this twisted and disturbing history.
I'm Jamie Brock,
I'm Tammy Overton.
and we do the paranormal tours here at Brushy. It was built in 1896. It shut down in 2009. I'm out of the family that originally owned this property here, so we signed it over in 1894. They built the prison, like I said, in 1896. They brought these young men in here. They wanted the coal, and so they brought them in and started mining the coal immediately. We are known as the end of the line. We had the worst of the worst here, not just from Tennessee, from all over. We kind of got that name, though, later in years. Early on, what we're finding with the men that was brought in here, they were young. 17 to 24 is mainly the age that they were brought in here. They were put in these coal mines. They had a quota to get every day. If they didn't get that day's quota, they were whipped. A lot of them were beat to death. If they didn't mine or wasn't mining hard enough, fast enough, they would even strap them to the mules there and rake their backs down the tops of the coal mines. So a lot of disease went through here. A lot of these young men with did you hear that?
Yeah, what was that?
Oh no.
Yeah.
God, I don't know. That was pretty loud.
And we're the only ones here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're the only
For
ones.
people online.
Someone's listening, but a lot of these young men with what was I saying?
The disease.
Yeah, there was a lot of disease. A lot of them were beat to death. Their crimes early on were they weren't hardcore criminals. These men were brought in here for things like lying, drinking, dancing. You know, I mean, it was a Footloose movie. You think that stuff, you see it on the movies and think it's kind of comical, but it was a real deal. And with things like that happening, they lost their lives here. They were made to, like I said, mine the coal. They quarried the rock.
What was a cough?
Is that?
That was a cough.
What was it?
A cough.
I heard like
I heard a metallic.
like a motorized type thing.
Did you not hear the cough after that?
Hello?
That came from this side. The other one came from this.
to there, and that one came over there.
That's the reason why I thought it was a separate sound that sounded kind of like a cough. Which it could have been because you were just talking about the disease and stuff.
That was so crazy.
No, it's weird. The last time I was here, I heard some, almost remember? Exactly like that. Over there.
It's the woman or something.
A woman's voice.
Yeah.
The last time.
Yes, yes.
We were talking about this same crowd.
Yeah, when I was here like a
Yes.
month ago.
That's
I even
so
asked
crazy.
who was the other lady that was here. You could hear that so loud behind you all that I was like, who's up here? And they were like, nobody else is here.
But you heard a cough too.
Yeah, I heard a cough.
Yeah, I heard something after. I did hear something, but I wasn't.
Wow.
That's so crazy. Like I said, mine the coal. They quarried the rock.
What was a cough?
Like I said, mine the coal. They quarried the rock.
What was a cough?
Like I said, mine the coal. They quarried the rock.
Oh, hear that?
What was a cough?
Again, these men lost their lives while here. They built this prison. They did build it in the shape of a cross, but it's an upside down cross to send a message that they're unworthy. We've got over 2,000 men buried here on our property, and what we found in our cemetery, they've even buried the men backwards. Christians face their dead to the east, and they've buried all of our men to the west. There's one that I found, his death certificate, his crime was assassin a white man, and he's buried here. Now the state of Tennessee claims that they gave the families the opportunity to claim these men's bodies the ones that are here are the ones that was never claimed. What I'm finding on their death certificates, a lot of them were buried within 1 to 3 hours of their death.
Really?
So a lot of them were being put in the ground warm, you know.
Yeah, we've had some people come back during the daytime tours and, you know, have like grandparents that were here, grandfathers. They weren't never told. They come back looking for their family.
Trying to find their loved ones. So,
and what we were saying too last time, you were telling me you guys think that there might be more bodies here,
but
it's not proven.
So recently, there are 3 graves back here behind the wall, and so we went back. I guess it was maybe a month ago. Me and my husband went back and we found where those were. An inmate had come in, and his job was taking care of those graves. What we found when we went back there, I don't think there's just 3 graves. The state claims there's 6 men buried here, and that's it. So anyone that is from this community knows that's hogwash. And we've got the cemetery to prove it. And so you can go in, you can see all the graves in our cemetery. There are, when we went back there to what we thought was 3 graves, we found 6. So I think that's where the state's getting, there's only 6 men buried here. But
maybe they started a graveyard there, or that could be out of the family that was here. We're not really sure about that.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I can't find one of my great-great-grandfather's graves. We can't find, so we think maybe he's even buried here. We also think that there's Native Americans buried here. We know that there's a chief buried to the highest point of this mountain here. This used to be Native American land. There's even a sundial here on the mountain. We've got underground water here. There's an underground lake. So the water, we supply water to 3 counties from this place. It's unreal how much water we have here. So they think this could have been sacred land to the natives. So we do get a lot of stuff from the Native American side of it also.
Ghost lights, things like that, and things tends to happen in places that have the same kind of activity.
Yeah, so we've got like over 2,000 buried here. There's over 10,000 documented deaths here from illness. You know, we had over 250,000 men that went in here. So, you know, it sounds like a lot of deaths, but when you look how many come through.
Yeah, I gotta have you stop for 1 second. 10,000 deaths in this complex.
That's what they're,
Like murders, suicides, natural causes, prison violence, like guards beating inmates to death.
Yes, all of it. There was one doctor that came in and found that 95% of the black men here at one time had syphilis and wasn't being treated. So, I mean, there was just a huge amount of illness. There was a TB outbreak that went through. They came in, the production of our coal fell off. They wanted to know why. Well, when they come in here, they found that 75% of the men inside this prison was crippled from being whipped so bad. Yeah, and what they did then was just brought some men out of jails, put them in those coal mines. And
are there coal mines right around here?
There's about 7 of them that goes around the bend here. They didn't care. They just wanted these men in here, and they wanted that coal. This was the richest coal that had been found in the world. Now, if it's been more than that since then, or if others have been found since then, but at the time, it was the richest coal found. It was very clean burning. It's still one of the largest seams of coal that runs between here and Kentucky, except they can't mine that now because the 4,000 acres that went with this is now a state park.
And you were talking about how they sent a group of the prisoners sent out somebody's head on a coal.
They did, out of the coal
mine. What was that story?
They were having to be made to be mined, the coal and stuff like that, and they were mean to them. So I guess a group of them had got together and cut one of the guards' head off and sent it back.
The body, they held I think they were holding the body hostage,
and sent his head out.
On a cart.
Yes. Yes.
Held the decapitated body hostage? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
What's the threat?
I don't know. I don't know. But I don't know. I guess the family just wanted it. I don't know. There was also just outside the wall here, there's a coal mine. Literally, like when you're standing at it, you can look down into the yard here. But there was a cave in there, and there was 17 men in that, and 4 mules and they just left them and made a new entrance. So
their bodies are still right there.
Oh, yeah. They left them mostly because they were black men.
Yeah.
Wow.
But there was a lot of beheadings here, and it was a lot during that time that the syphilis was going through here real bad. So I guess they were just crazy and killing one another.
Now, what do you mean by beheadings?
Like they would just chop each other's heads off. I mean, it was crazy how many heads were lost around here. Well, one of our family members, as a matter of fact, while they were building this wall, it was an uncle. Now, he was hardcore. He shot a lot of them. He was mean. He made a mistake by shooting. There was 2 brothers, and he shot and killed one of the brothers. So the other brother gets on the work crew, and they're building the wall. And while that takes place, he takes his shovel, and he beheads him with his shovel. He's actually the only guard we found that is buried here in our cemetery.
And he's one of your family members.
He is. He was an uncle. Yeah.
When the family signed, when the prison was leased over, that was part of the deal with the lease. They got $20 and a hog rifle for this place and the agreement that family could always work here. So that was the reason for a lot of the just whatever, they done whatever, because there was no repercussions. The prisoners couldn't tell because it was always family in here. Yeah. And back then, a lot of the guards were really cruel and probably deserved to be in here more than a lot of the inmates at the time.
There wasn't no probably about that. I wholeheartedly believe that. Now, this over here, too, is where they would have been whipped. This is a replica of
Can we walk over
Yeah,
there?
go ahead. Yeah.
So they would have been whipped in the middle of the prison yard.
Yes, this is where it would have been.
Yeah. Everybody would have seen them be strapped to it, and they would have lashed them with a leather whip.
To send a message, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So would a lot of prisoners have died from being whipped?
Yes. Even I just spoke of my grandmother too. They still lived on the property, and she still remembers hearing them being whipped. And she says, they would whip them, and it would be no time that you would see them taking one to the graveyard, so.
Wow.
It was a well-known fact. And, I heard these stories my whole life, and I always thought, man, they should write a book because they were just really, Hollywood can't make this stuff up. But when I got in here, I really thought they were over-exaggerating. But when I got in here and I started going through ledgers and finding things for myself, it was... they sugar-coated a lot of it. And here's the...
that stuff being documented, and you find the death certs, and the reasons for their deaths were description of being beaten and just the cruelty and stuff.
Yeah.
They really were sugar-coating it back then. You thought it couldn't be that bad, but it was worse than what you thought.
Bad. There was a little man that came in here. He was in his 90s, and he was here. He mined the coal, but he was... asking what happened to the water pools outside of the hole. And I said, well, there's never any water pools there. He said, yes, there was. He said they used to stand us in them up to our chin. And he said they would freeze us out like that. Wow. We'd have to stand there in the bitter cold in that water. So I guess they've covered them. But we're told there was a ditch that was dug back here in the back field. And one of the guards brought in this like a motor from a pump, and they hooked it to a bicycle. And so then they would put the men down in this trench, and they would flood the trench, and they had to pedal the bicycle to pump the water out, or they drowned. The water would go over their heads. Yeah.
So the guards were just as bad as the prisoners here, if not worse.
Worse, yeah.
It was like lawless, really.
And like she said, I mean, it was written, I've got the lease agreement at my house, but it was written that our family could always work here, no questions asked. So if they told anyone, it was the uncle or a cousin or whatever. So it ended up being worse on them if they told it.
Well, you guys want to take us through some of the buildings?
We can.
Tell us some stories? That noise was crazy.
That is insane.
Whatever that was.
I don't even know what that could have been.
Both of them were very loud.
This would have been considered A side. They would have kept more of like the sick over here back when she said, the disease and stuff was really in effect. They would have kept the sick over on this side.
Almost like a hospital kind of.
Yeah, because even the guards was getting the TB,
Yeah.
is what we were told. And that was part of the plan. So when you see these cells compared to Ohio, these are big cells. But now what you got to remember, we hot bunked this. So every 12 hours they shift changed. So there would have been 6 bunks in these cells. So on both sides, yeah. Yeah.
We've actually found a picture of a man sitting in the bottom bunk, and there's 2 bunks ahead of him. And then you can see the other 3 bunks on the other side. That's been recently this year we found a picture of
Wow.
Yeah. So James R. Ray's last cell. So this is where he was at, or his last one.
Did he die here?
He did not, but he spent many years here, and we get things that come through that claim to be him, so I don't know. Now this is an active area though. The inmates that used to be housed here claim that they see a period dressed man that walks, like an old coal miner that walks this walk. We've had some work, we had a worker quit on us who's seen him. And we catch some pretty good stuff down this walk here.
I've personally been standing outside, and you can actually see it looks like a light inside when nobody's in here.
Coming from in here.
Yeah.
Kind of like somebody's walking with a light or something,
Oh.
like up higher.
That you see from the outside.
So what about deaths in this block? Any interesting murders or deaths?
There was one that I kind of feel sorry for. He was on the top up here, but he wasn't right. I don't know if he had the syphilis or what, but he was a black man. And they had told him if he could jump out and hit one of these windows, he could slide out to why am I laughing? That's not funny, but he could slide out and to freedom. And of course, he missed the window and fell to his death here. So
prisoners told him that, or guards?
yes, it was the inmates. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess they probably thought he wouldn't do it. I don't know. But see, that caging wasn't there. And so when it shut down in the 70s, that was kind of one of the things that the guards demanded, for that to be put up for their safety. So a lot of them were shoved over to their deaths, the inmates, not the guards. But so a lot died that way here.
Wow.
Hooch or, drugs or homemade alcohol, all that stuff.
Oh, there was a lot of that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they get wacky from that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's probably deaths due to
Well,
that.
actually, there was 3 that died, wasn't
What's
it?
it
From it was the julep, and it poisoned them. So
like
3 of them.
methanol or something like that.
Yeah.
We actually we know a man that was housed here that made julep, which is jailhouse alcohol. He actually tells the story of a buddy of his would drink it and have the cornmeal around his lip. It was just so bitter and strong, but the cornmeal would be around his lip, and he would, I guess, lay down and think he was in another world. It would hit you so hard. So.
I need some of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now this to me is where this place starts to get spooky.
So the cafeteria. A lot of them died in here. This is where we had one that was whacked up.
Yeah.
You want to tell that one?
He was actually cooking in the kitchen, and they chopped him up. They were cooking chicken that day, and they chopped him up and literally almost just cut his arm off. The guard tells it he wallered him, and I guess he was trying to help him, even though they knew he was gone, but he was covered in blood from head to toe. So
Just getting murdered by other inmates.
Yeah.
but they went on with eating. They ate their chicken that day.
Wow.
So you just imagine they were so used to seeing that stuff,
Yeah.
it didn't bother them.
Well, actually, we tell about a guy over here, James Slagle. He was actually the longest incarcerated man in Tennessee. He stopped to help a guy who had a flat tire, and he had done some acid. and he had a bad trip and ended up killing him, and he got put in here. But he was telling me about one that was here. They were sitting here eating, and he said this man comes up from behind and cuts this dude's throat, and he's bleeding across the table, and the man just picks his tray up and moves it, and he says, "Do you mind?" He said, "You're messing up my food." And Slagle says, "You know," he said, "that bothered me." He said that was the last thing that man heard. And he said it was several days later that I realized, he said, it didn't bother me that they killed him. It bothered me what he heard. And he said, that's when I realized I was no better than the man that killed him. And so he decided then that he would change his ways. He actually went to college and got a degree, but he also packed himself in a box and shipped himself out here.
That's what he's most famous for.
Really?
Is actually he done yoga and packed himself in a box and got a, he escaped technically.
Except that he had luck like mine. He escaped, and when he jumped out of the truck, there was an off-duty police or guard,
off-duty
and rabbit hunting, and seen him jump.
Stroke of bad luck.
Honestly, you got that far.
Yeah, he did. But yeah, this in here, you get a lot of shadow figures, apparitions. They formed in front of us in here. We've got one that is caught on video, and all you see is an arm. We found that interesting because one guy had his arm pretty much whacked off.
And it is kind of in the area, maybe.
Things get thrown.
You hear a lot of working in the back. Sometimes I've heard silverware ting on the floor. Like,
Weird.
it's
Makes sense,
super
though.
strange,
But so a lot of people would get murdered in here just because it was a common area.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody was together in a small area, and they may have access to whatever kind of knives and things that they would have used. And they were all sitting, and if, you know, somebody had beef with somebody, they would just get up and go stab them and sit back down.
Any idea how many people died here?
I don't.
Not in here.
I don't even think, we've asked the guards that, and the guards haven't even really been able to put a number on that. So,
it was pretty regular though. This and the auditorium, when they were having the auditorium where the prisoners watched movies, they were the two areas.
And this is a hot spot.
It is, yeah.
They've caught a big shadow figure in that little room back there where the window is. And it's super, super big, so.
But you can see how that was added. So that would have used to been part of this. So that was added later on.
Yeah, this room is creepy because just, I don't know, there's something about it.
Yeah, it is a creepy place.
Well, yeah, in the kitchen, and actually in the main back of the kitchen, back years ago when they were burying the dead, they were putting them in standard size caskets, 6 foot. So if the men were over 6 foot, they would chop the bottoms of their legs off to fit them in the casket. Why, we don't know, but that was done in the back of the kitchen.
Got my own theory on that.
Yes.
So, you know, old timers were very superstitious. And so I think they were so mean to these men. That's a reason they gave everyone. But I think they cut the bottoms of their legs off so they couldn't rise from the dead and come for them. That's just my theory. I really do.
That makes sense.
Because they used to dig people up and put, or they would stab them through the chest or something if they thought they used to think people could come back as vampires and all kinds of stuff.
Well, that's what the graveyard shift term come from, was somebody would always sit up and listen for a bell that was tied to the toe in case somebody was buried alive.
Now that would be creepy to be on the graveyard shift in here.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
So now this walk here, we get quite a bit of activity from it, but now this house where our parents were kept. So a lot of them would have been killed just because of their crimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
This would have been considered B-side. So the more violent would have been kept on B-side.
And the were actually specifically always here.
yeah, they would have been kept locked up 24/7 so that They would have even been fed inside their, cells. So we tell about the hostage shooting that happened down below us. We tell it there, but it actually happened right here. So this is where that happened at. Now this, to me, is hands down, one of the most active places in the whole place. Right here and this area here.
Yeah, the whole third floor.
Yeah. So what happened, they called themselves the Magnificent Seven. They sought out of their cells, came over here, took 3 guards hostage, and went down through here shooting. So they went down shooting all these black men. Now the second cell down there, no one died in it because there was white men in that cell. This is a really active area. I don't know if you all have seen, Omar has a video of a cigarette being smoked. Have you seen that? So if you go down through there, you'll see all the cigarettes, but that's where that happens.
There's a door like here.
Oh, that's the creepy area.
Is it?
Yes, that's the...
Oh,
That's the possession area.
There it goes
Ashley
again.
came up here one night. She was sick, and I had to do a tour by myself for her, so I had my husband come up and help. And from the gate on up, it just felt off that night. And when we came up to walk up after the tour was over with, he was shining his light down that hall.
Yeah.
And the minute he shined it, I seen him kind of look, and I was facing the wall trying to lock the door. And all of a sudden, he starts squealing like a girl and backing up. And when I turned my head to look, all I seen was a really dark shadow, not like the typical shadow figures that I see here. This was super dark. I just turned my head because I know about this area.
Yeah.
I don't fool with it. So I'm locking the door, and he's screaming, backing up, and I'm trying to tell him to shut the door. And he said that it was so big it just completely blocked out over half of his flashlight. I thought he was going to fall down the stairs.
Wow.
If you're sick, stressed, poking that bear, whatever, but he came up and it got him. He was also one of those, he'd seen a lot of things up here, but he always made an excuse. And he was like, unless it's in my face, I'm not going to be a full believer. Well, he's a believer now.
So, what were you hearing just now?
We don't know.
We don't know. It's just
We don't know.
it's a popping.
So, with the Magnificent Seven, so it was a group of prisoners that killed the guards?
No, they killed the inmates.
Oh, they killed...
The black inmates.
And they just went down each of these cells right here.
Yes.
Shooting right into the
Second
cell.
Yeah.
Had white men in it.
So they had a gun. They had smuggled a gun in here. And the funny thing is, their gun was hidden actually outside this area in another part. And it was always rumored that the blacks also had a gun.
It was a 38 was what was rumored to have had.
Yes.
And they always try to deny that. But later on, a few winters back,
Yes.
Me
Well,
and
actually not last winter, but the winter before.
Yeah.
I was up here snooping, and we opened up one of these pipes that's actually in the hospital area, just right through that door. And we found 10 .38 special bullets individually wrapped and tucked down into that pipe. So had they got to their gun,
It would have been a
it would have been
shootout.
totally different story, because the whites only had a 25? It was a little gun, and they had this 38. So we've not found the gun, but we have found the bullets. So they definitely had it.
And so it was each of these cells someone died in, like right here.
The first cell and the second or third cell, those men died, and by the time they got to the rest of them, the inmates had their mattresses up in front of them to shield them.
Smart.
So, yeah, I think there was another one that got hit by a bullet, but no one else died. Just in this cell in the third.
So what about the paranormal activity right here?
Oh, it's off the charts when you get it going. I actually think the one that smokes the cigarette right here, there was one that was in the auditorium. He had a gay lover here for 15 years. he started seeing another man, and the word got out. They were watching a film, and this guy comes up from behind and cuts his throat. He actually runs out to this area here, and he asks for a cigarette. A guard gives him a cigarette, and he actually dies smoking the cigarette. So I think it's him. His name's Johnny Baxter. And usually when you call his name and start getting activity, it's just crazy how much activity you'll get from him.
Yeah, it spikes like instantly.
So Johnny,
yep. Yep. Oh. And the other ones that died, there was two, their names was James, and I've actually got a pretty cool recording. I was telling a group of women from Florida that both the black men that died in the shooting was named James, and you hear a man come through and he says, I was one of those. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
this area here, although it's marked auditorium, it was turned into an auditorium, but originally this would have been all hospital. So this whole floor was hospital.
And
this is the infirmary.
Yeah.
And this is what you would say is the scariest part?
This is where we get true negativity. Yeah.
You know, I can't believe the amount of murders and stabbings, just, you know, suffering that took place in that huge place. And it's just amazing the amount of death there again. Yeah, with everything from the killings in the cafeteria to the brutal murders of prisoners by the guards, who are just nasty people, all the injustices and being put in there for things like, you know, swearing. I mean, it's like amazing the amount of human suffering that went there and the carnage. Amazing that happened really in the U.S. But yeah, it's amazing the amount, you know, of just bad things that happened there.
So, yeah, this is where they would have showed like the movies here, and there would have been seating out here. Then later on, they built these rooms, and they would have done like counseling and stuff like that during that time. But we really get a lot from this behind you, right here, this area. That's where that creeper likes to stay, is right there.
So who's the creeper?
I don't know.
Why do you call him the creeper?
Because he's always on his belly.
Really?
Yes, yeah, yes. And that's why. Yeah, he does go up the wall. Yeah, he's creepy. Yeah, I don't know. And that's why I never thought there was any good out of that one.
Now, the feeling you get from it is just complete. You almost feel like you're panicking. Or I did the night that my husband ran into it. It's just you just know it's negative.
And so this is where the possession happened.
It is. Me and this friend was up here, and he was over here sitting on this step. And I was over here on these steps. We had literally been here long enough for him to play a song. Don't ask me what song it was, because I have no idea what the name of that song is. I just know it was a really creepy song. It's really creepy, and for some reason it triggered activity. But he plays the song, and I can't tell you even if it played from start to finish or if he stopped it. But when the music stopped, I said, are you going to ask some questions? But I was hearing this funny noise, and I honestly thought at first that he had fallen asleep. And so I turned my light on and shine it over, and he's sitting there in total darkness, staring right at me and making that weird noise. And I said, what are you doing? And at first I thought, well, he's just trying to trick us, because we had someone with us that had never had an experience. And I thought, he's trying to freak them out. But it was kind of odd, because he's never been like that. Like, he's very serious. He doesn't joke about it. And it was just out of character. And so I couldn't get activity out of this area. This creeper does not like me, but I've always called BS on it. So I said, well, if you're not going to ask questions, we'll go to another location where I can get some activity. And I walk over and I grab him by the arm and stand him up, and he takes one step and he goes out, just falls out. he's laying there, and I thought, he's knocked himself out. So I go to pick him up, and he just feels funny to me, which I'm a first responder. I'm with the fire department. And I thought, so I felt for a pulse, and I couldn't find a pulse on him. And so I asked the other guy with us to help me pick him up and carry him out. And when we get him outside to the hallway, he starts coming back around, breathing. And now looking back, if you've ever been around someone that's dying, the death rattle, that's what it sounded like, the death rattle. And his eyes were rolled back in the back of his head. All you saw was the whites of his eyes. I've looked back on it. I don't know. I've never witnessed anything like that, but I've thought it through time and time again. And if you just try to cross your eyes, you can only do that for a couple seconds. It starts hurting. You can't do that. His eyes was rolled back in his head for over 45 minutes. They never came back. When he would talk, he would sound kind of just demon-like. I mean, it was the craziest thing. We finally got him downstairs, and that's when, everything went south. So I get him downstairs, and I had actually walked off. I left him up here because we couldn't get him to cooperate. So I walk out of the prison. I don't tell anyone what I'm doing. And when I did, I had actually walked away to call the police. I had asked for them to come up to assist me, and I didn't know what else to do. And so while I was gone, he looked at the other guy helping me here, and he said, "Tell that bitch to get off the phone." Now, I didn't tell anyone what I was doing, but he knew. And, and he was being real foul. Everything was just foul coming out of his mouth. But we got downstairs, and the police arrived, and that's when, they pulled a taser. They were going to tase him. They didn't know what else to do. Long story short, when we got them finally out of this prison, they started coming back to themselves, and they didn't even recall what had happened. To this day, they don't recall. The next morning when they woke up, they were covered from head to toe in bruises. I don't want to ever see that again. That's all I know.
So they got possessed in this room.
Yeah. If I've ever, I don't know what else it could have been. That's the only thing. They were totally different. Totally different. And we weren't in here. How long does a song play? Maybe 3 minutes? That's how long we were in here. We sit down, they played the song, and it happened that quick. We've been in here for, 10 years, and nothing had happened. We had got things like foul odors, just uneasy feelings. We had caught it on video. We had been talked down to on audio. She's getting antsy. But what are you saying, buddy? Huh? But nothing had ever really happened until that night, and it came without warning. There was no warning whatsoever.
So this would be a place in the prison where there's some sort of unexplainable evil.
Yeah.
Any idea what?
No. No.
It's a mystery.
But you think about it, this is built in the shape of an upside down cross. You literally drive up to the top of the cross. They did it on purpose to send a message to the men they were unworthy. But still, what does that invite in? But then you have to think about all the people that have been in here in all walks of life. It doesn't matter what their religion was, they were allowed to practice it. So you had people in here that was Satanists, you had witchcraft, you had Muslims and Christians, and then you combine it all in one area. You know what? Who knows? It's like a melting pot. Yeah.
Tragedy that happened during, and then it sat open for a few years, being watched, but loosely watched. So people would have broke in. You don't know what they done during that time.
Oh no, we found all kinds of stuff. Ouija boards, pythons. They even brought snakes in here.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy the stuff they were doing in here. I don't know what it is. I really don't.
You ever find any sacrifice stuff in here?
I'm gonna tell you, y'all think I'm crazy, but it was this past spring. We started finding mutilated animals here.
What?
No, I'm not even kidding. Like, they were cut. It didn't even look like they'd used surgical instruments. It was crystal clear. No blood. There was never blood. Heads were missing. They would take out the innards, like there would be a heart gone or lungs gone, and
They were super clean. They didn't have grass all over them, mud all over them, anything like that. They looked perfectly preserved.
did you just hear singing?
Oh,
I heard.
this way.
It almost sounded like a kid humming a nursery rhyme or something. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I kind of thought maybe it was, I didn't know if he was doing something on his phone or something.
No.
I thought I was hearing.
A lot of movement in this room. But where are you finding these animals?
They were on our lawn.
What?
Yes, I swear. On the lawn, yes.
Now that is strange. What the hell?
I wouldn't have believed it. I hate telling people about it because if someone told me about it, I wouldn't have believed it. But
At the time, none of us thought to take a picture because we were so freaked out, but we really wish we had have now taken a picture just for the proof. But 4 or 5 different people witnessed that, so.
yeah.
Well, maybe you'll get another one soon.
Yeah, and it's so bizarre because it just quit. Like, we were literally finding them every week for weeks, and then it just stopped. I don't know. So, but yeah, so this is a nice little area to get stuff out of. Now, y'all want to walk into the hospital?
Sure.
So these are the actual rooms that are left. You can see where they would have been strapped to their beds, and over here was a padded cell. Doesn't have the padding anymore, but
This was a padded cell for
Right
more
here.
of
yeah,
the psychiatric.
yeah. Yeah.
This is a really just creepy area.
I don't know if that's always been like that or that's going on.
And it's getting worse. It's always been like that.
Now, there was one that hung himself here.
Really?
Yeah.
And right in here is where you get a lot of get outs on an ovulus.
Yeah, so this is a pretty cool place. And the hospital just goes on and on, just some rooms back there, but it's of course, it's going to be active. You get a little bit of everything in here.
So where do you think here on the property the most people would have died, or what was the most violent kind of place? Or was it everywhere?
It really was everywhere. I mean, you really can't. Our gift shop restaurant area, that was the powerhouse at one time. They made their own power here, but that place is just off the charts. You can go anywhere on this property and get crazy activity. Apparitions, we see apparitions all the time just walking,
In the parking lot.
Yeah, you think people are, it's when we're closed down, you think people's trespassing, you go to get them, they're there, and then all of a sudden they vanish, it's...
Is it more of a shadow person?
No.
It's actually
You
looks like a
literally
person.
see them, yes.
Body. You
Okay.
actually think
Yeah.
it is a person.
But now sometimes it is. We've had the shadows,
Yeah.
and sometimes you can. They're transparent, like you see through them. But a lot of the times, the majority of the times, you see them just like we see each other. The only way you know that it was an apparition, we've had them walk through the wall on us. Or
just completely
disappear. They're there and they're gone.
Don't tell me you're going to disappear in a second.
I hope not.
I'm like, where'd she go?
Yeah.
I'm the only one giving the tour.
Right. And we get cats, like ghost cats. Even the inmates talk about that.
They tried to figure out where they were coming from because they thought that might be an escape route that they could take.
One thing I was found interesting at a few places is like doppelgangers. Or
Yes.
have you ever had any experiences with like someone mistaking you, like for
Yes.
you, each other?
Voice-wise,
Yeah.
Yes.
her a whole lot.
What?
I've heard my dad up here, and I've heard her. specifically talking. And my dad and her husband heard her
I
inside
called.
D block.
He said, "Where you at?" I said, "I'm at the house." He said, "No, really, where you at?" I said, "I'm really at the house." And he goes, "Jamie, we're hearing you talk. Where are you at?" I said, "I'm sitting on the couch watching TV." And so they went and they started walking around. He said, "We're still hearing you talk." And I said, "Well, are you hearing me through the phone?" And he was like, "Well, no." And so then and we've had even our paranormal tours come out and say, "Was you just in D block?" And I'm like, "It ain't me." But yeah. And that's where it happens at the majority of the time.
Yeah.
Is D block. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but yeah. Do you all want to go down that way
Which way?
to D block?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or up to Tennessee State.
It did. We sent them to Nashville. Yeah.
I did my homework.
I mean, just listening to the stories of the prison, what the hell, dude? How is there a place that is so just filled with evil? 10,000 deaths. Jeff and I have filmed at prisons in the past across the US, but Brushy just has a history that's evil. Every single story that you hear really is just bad. Oh, in this room, this guy had his head cut off. In this room, somebody was burned alive. Oh, here's the kitchen where instead of eating, people were shanking each other and assaulting each other all day long. And as we went on throughout the tour, this history just got deeper, darker, and more disturbing with every step that we took.
Now this house, death row inmates down this walk here. Now I think it was cell 6. One of the inmates supposedly hung himself and set himself on fire. Now I think he must have had a helping hand with that, because I don't know how you hang yourself and set yourself on fire. Or vice versa, for that matter.
D block is a creepy area to me.
It is.
This place is just so damn big. It's like you can't even show online like how just massive this complex is.
Small for, a maximum security prison, but they did do that on purpose because they thought that that would cut down on the escapes, in which it did. We had them escape from like out of the coal mines and stuff. They were caught, but as far as getting out of the prison behind this wall, we only had the one escape, James L. Ray. And then according to records, we've got a certificate over in the museum that said that we only had one successful escape in 100 years. And so that's actually a better track record than Alcatraz. So, but yeah, so it did work. And that's how we actually got labeled the end of the line for real. I mean, aside from people dying, it was known as the end of the line because if they couldn't handle them somewhere, they were sent here. If they were an escape risk. That's why when you watch Hannibal Lecter or Silence of the Lambs, when they were going to send Hannibal here, he was an escape risk. And so that's why he was coming to Brushy. So.
Is that actually in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
In the movie, he actually made the deal with the woman,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he wanted a room with a view,
Right.
Brushy Mountain, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so that view out front is the view that Hannibal wanted a room with a view of, yeah. So now this is D block. This replaced the hole. This is also where the death house would have sat at one time, stored the dead bodies for a while. This was also where part of the original wooden structure would have been at. So a lot of the inmates, like if they were, this was kind of like the prison within the prison. If they were problems or escape risk, they would have been put in here and they would have been kept locked up 24/7. And a lot of the inmates that was in here, if they've been let out, and a lot have, they talk about the things they've seen and heard in
A lot of them
here.
won't even go in there.
No.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
This is also the building when they came in and said no more beatings. The state stopped the punishment. They took them inside this building and whipped a lot of them. So a lot of men would have died in there by being beat to death.
Yeah.
So that was just a very violent building.
Yes. Yes, and they were not just nasty. We had one therapist that came in and he would do interviews with these inmates and try to help them. But he said if I ever seen a man that was possessed, he said it was in that building. And they brought this guy in, and they had him shackled. They brought him in naked. They couldn't even get clothes on him. And on the way here, he actually bit one of the guards' ears off. But he said he would hiss, he would growl. He was only here for just over a week. They couldn't do anything, so they sent him to a hospital where they could keep him medicated. But he said, if I've ever seen anyone, he said it was in there. Now, we do get some craziness out of it. We get hissing, growls. We're talking about being scratched earlier. One of the girls that, did you all hear that?
Yeah.
One of the girls recited the Lord's Prayer inside there, and she was sitting on a bench in front of us. She hadn't moved, and she said, "Oh, my back, it keeps burning." And so she complained about it a couple times. We turned her around and looked, and she had 3 claw marks down the entire length of her back after reciting the prayer. So, yeah.
This is the first time, this is the building I was in the first time I ever got touched. We were cleaning it up before we opened up for tours. And my hair, I always keep it in a clip, and I thought my hair got hung on something. And my dad seen it, and he was like, "What's going on?" And my hair just come kind of out of my clip. And I mean, you could feel the tug. I literally pulled my head thinking I was caught on something, but there was nothing there.
In this place.
Yeah, in D-block.
I had an inmate that actually come back. He's a minister now, but he said, my religion teaches me I'm not supposed to believe in that stuff. And he said, but I know the things I seen and the things I heard while in that building. And he asked me, he said, do you ever capture shadow figures and stuff in there? And I got to telling him things that we had caught and the evidence that we collected. And he actually started crying. He was like, I've thought for years that I was crazy. He said I would be laying in my cell, and he said shadow figures would come through my cell and just go into the wall, which would make sense too if it's residual, because the original structure would have been in there, so they might have just, been walking. But
it was an L-shaped building that would have set this way, and it was like 4 stories high, I think. So it would have set there.
Does it go all the way back?
Mm-hmm.
All the
It just goes right here.
all there. Okay.
Yeah, that building up there, now that made this a supermax. So that building up there, those inmates would have been locked up 24/7. So once they got that built, they supposedly shut this down. They really didn't. They still use this. But these up here, now they were some characters that would have been housed in that one.
What do you mean?
Like just to give you an idea, one that was in there, he and killed his grandmother at the same time. So they would have showered in their cells. They never come out.
They're extremely violent.
Yeah.
Basically.
Can we go in there?
It is unlocked tonight if you want to go in there. Now it's being torn down, so it's really gnarly in there.
Yeah.
They nothing. I mean, it's rough, but you all can go in there.
Chases on the upstairs, so just be careful.
Yeah, the door that goes in it is on this side. You'll see the door. You just pull it open.
Any activity in there that you?
Yeah. Actually, we were up here. Actually, when they were first starting to tear it down, we were in there, and I had my nephew with me. He was 3 at the time. I guess the only thing I know, I was looking in the direction that he seen what he seen, and he says, "Did you see the bull man?" And I'm like, "No. What are you talking about?" He said, "The bull man. Did you see it?" And I said, "No." And he gets aggravated and mad at me, and he's like, "Yes, he was yes." So I think I was looking in the direction he seen it. And then, it kind of freaked him out, and he didn't want to go in that area. And so when I got home, I got to flipping through the internet and looking at pictures, and he stops and he says, "That." And I said, "What?" He said, "That's the bull man." It was half bull, half man, and it was like, oh my God. So then we had this group that came in just a few weeks later, and they took a photograph of that doorway, and they brought it back down, and they were like, look at this shadow figure, and it was enormous. Yeah, and it was really big at the top and just normal at the bottom. And I've always thought, I don't know.
And when you're looking that up, it presents itself to children, so it's odd that
Yes.
we were there,
Well,
never
people
seen
used
it.
to sacrifice children to, to the gods. But I mean, I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. This is actually one of the only locations I've ever seen anything that kind of looked like not human. I don't know. Yeah. On that third floor we were just at, I seen something that, I don't know, I thought it might have been like one of these men that had been beat and was crippled, but it was bent over. It had a hump in its back. Its legs were bent, but it walked. You know how a kangaroo bobs when it walks? That's how it walked. It was right out on that walkway. It was right on the walkway outside, yeah. I don't know. It was the only thing that's ever made me leave this, and I left a woman up there, and I went out front, and she comes out, and she's like, you left me there. I said, it's a dog-eat-dog world. That's all I know. I wasn't coming back.
Oddly enough, that was one of those times to where Jamie was hearing Get Out.
Yes.
And the lady that she left was getting Get Out on the Ovilus. So Jamie was like, you should have listened.
Yeah, she did, and she stuck around, so.
This place is just like a maze.
Really?
Yeah. That room that's shut out, that's the museum. That's where James Earl Ray was actually attacked and stabbed. Like
Really?
22 times or 27 times. He was stabbed in that. That was the law library at the time. And he was stabbed and sent out to the hospital.
Wow.
That's actually how he eventually later on in years died. They had to do a blood transfusion, and I guess back then they didn't screen the blood. He contracted hepatitis, and that later got to his liver and stuff, and that's how he died. Many years after that. This is the building.
So he came here after MLK.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was staying here after that.
I didn't know that door was open.
Usually they don't ever open.
So this is the most active room for some reason. We're not really sure why. But you get a lot of shadow figures and apparitions here. Really cool EVP. But here in this area, this is where they would have been put for punishment. There, you can see inside these cells how small they were. Now, there might have been one man in a cell, there could have been 10. These bunks you see would have never been there. They would have been on the ground, and they were given 2 buckets, one to go to the bathroom in and one to drink from. They were fed what the inmates called the green monster. It was okra and greens, boiled to a mush. Yeah. They also hung them by their thumbs as a form of punishment down here too. So a lot of them would go blind. They'd been here so long. But it's a cool little place. A lot of them's carved their names in the walls and stuff. It's fun to stand down here and read them, but yeah.
There's actually a picture of a big shadow. It looks like a man standing right here. They've taken the picture from
Someone just
down
did
the wall.
this, like this.
Oh, you hear the paint and
The paint.
crunching and stuff on the ground wall.
Yeah.
So, famous inmates other than James Earl Ray, were there any serial killers, any notable?
Yeah, we had
Husky.
Zoo Man Husky.
Zoo Man was here. I did a
Yes.
Zoo Man video.
He was
Yeah.
actually housed in the cell next to James R. Ray's
Yeah.
28 cell.
We had one that we called Trucker. He killed the red-headed women and threw them out along the side of the interstate.
The boxer that was up to fight Muhammad Ali, he
He
was
was
in here
here.
for drugs.
What was his name?
Tate.
Big John
John
Tate.
Tate.
We had a few NFL players. What's the movie? It'll come to me if I could sit and think about it. But anyway, he was here. It's a true story. The guy, he's released and he goes and plays football for, I think, the Washington Redskins against the Dallas Cowboys, and it was like the greatest game ever played. What the heck was that?
That's gonna drive me crazy now because I watch a lot of NFL football.
But anyway, we also had the fast food killer.
Yeah.
He was in here.
The lily lid.
Yeah, did you ever do the lily lid killers?
No.
They were the
a
teenage group. They killed a family of Jehovah Witnesses, and only the 2-year-old survived. But they were teenagers. They had got into Satan, worshiping Satan and stuff, and they sacrificed this family. And the youngest one of them came in here. They put him in, he was 14, and they brought him in here.
The Lily Lid Killers.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
That's actually what led her to be digging to see if that was the youngest that was housed here. And we had found in the 30s, there was a 10-year-old in here for stealing bread.
Yeah.
Wow.
He wasn't the only one. They were called the Children of Brushy, and they were 13 and under. So yeah.
That's kind of the way that goes. You'll find out one thing and then she'll dig, and you just find out so much more. That's how, tons of history here that's been dug up and a lot that's been hidden.
Like being parents, they'd be like, they're 10, and like, you swear anymore, I'm going to send you to Brushy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's a real truth.
Well, in Nashville, the youngest one down there was 8.
Jesus.
Yeah, he was in there. They thought he killed his sister. This little guy, the 10-year-old, was in here for stealing bread. They put him in here for nothing. They just wanted him to mine that coal, That's what they did.
So what do you guys think were the most gruesome things that happened here? Like crime-wise, murders or deaths even?
Here's the thing. When you sit and listen to them talk, the guards was just as crooked. They knew there was a family that would come here to visit one of the inmates up in the visitation area. And he had a daughter, she was like 13, wasn't it? 13. And they would bring her in here with his parents. His parents would sit at the table. The guards would be inside the visitation room and knew this was going on. And the little girl was having to perform stuff on her father. And then he started prostituting her out to the other inmates, and no one did anything. So, there's that. You've got the guards who thought someone deserved to be punished by having the time, up their rectum. They done horrible acts to these men. I don't care what they did. You don't have no right to do that. Then you have the men that came in here that wasn't even criminals. They cussed, or I'd be on death row, I cuss like a sailor, or they got drunk,
or be beat to death, or killed, slaughtered, your throat slit, whatever.
Yeah.
So those had to be like on the books, for Tennessee as far as like legal reasons to be jailed, right?
Yeah.
There had to be like laws, like.
And I think they've tried to cover so much up, like they say, "Oh no, that never happened." Well, it's in the books, You wrote it. Someone was stupid enough to write it down, But I don't know. And we found several mass graves over there where they've just thrown so many in there and just covered them up. And who knows what else happened? The guards always said, well, if we dropped them here, we put them in the ground there. So they're buried everywhere. That's just the ones that were marked,
And you get that a lot on Ovilus, like underneath ground, buried. Find me.
Yeah.
So you think even in the yard area there could be?
Yeah.
We actually dug up bones.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
When we go out, we'll go out this door, and they were putting in sewage. And while they were digging, there have been like buckets of bones found.
What are they doing?
We
Got 'em.
they're in a bucket.
Yeah.
Really?
You still have
I
one?
do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean,
Human skeletal.
I don't know. I mean,
It's hard to say.
I don't know.
One definitely kind of personally
hip
looks
bones
like
that
a
you
hip bone.
Yeah.
hips and thighs and bones and I don't know. We found some ribs, but I don't know. I don't know.
And who knows what else is buried?
Yes.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so much land to
Who knows?
search.
Well, you've got Indians,
Right.
and the Yuchi Indians had it. The Cherokee took it from them, and then you had family here, and then the prison. So I mean, throughout time, you don't know what you've got.
It's not like they're going to drive them 8 miles to bury him.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to bury them right where they were.
And see, then I found a record where one of the last public hangings happened, and they actually done it on the property here. So there's record of that. You know, and then there was people around here that was slave owners also. When they died, they would bury their slaves in the wooded areas here.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of slave graves. I mean, it's not even related to, you've got so much that took place here. There was even some history with this, even though this was there was a lot of racial pigs that worked in here. This was Union at one time. And so when the Confederates came through here, it got nasty. So you find a lot of things with the Civil War here. I don't know, it was...
Yeah.
It's a mix of everything.
It is. It's just like a melting pot of, there's just so much history. You know, even before when this was built, this came off the back of the Coal Creek War. A Coal Creek War was just a little civil war here where they had been bringing inmates in, taking coal miners' jobs at other coal mine sites. And so when that broke out, there's even a militia hill up here on the mountain that still has cannon sitting along the side of the hill. So they came in, they wanted this property. They actually burnt my family out a couple of times before he signed it over. They signed this and 4,000 acres over. And for that, they got $20 in the hog raffle. And then the agreement family could always work here. But, you know, no rights to any coal, nothing. There's just a lot of wrongdoing here, you know.
So I guess at the end of the day, you guys would definitely say that this place is haunted.
Absolutely.
Hands down, absolutely. Everything from hearing, seeing, feeling, you name it.
And you think there might be some sort of even possibly inhuman demonic
Yeah.
presence here?
It's definitely a different feel when you come to that certain part. thing.
That third floor area,
Yeah, the
especially
third floor, the
creeper.
auditorium.
And the D block?
Yeah, see, we think that creeper was in D block before it went to the auditorium. It got so active in D block for a while, we shut it down for 2 years and didn't allow anyone in there. And it was during that time that the auditorium became nasty. So we think it moved during that time. But we've kind of had our suspicions that it's going back and forth again, like maybe, because some people are reporting some crazy stuff in there.
And it is kind of different. You go upstairs in D block and it seems like a little different. You almost get the same feeling or vibe or something. Just me personally, so I don't, it's kind of strange.
Well, my camera's about dead.
Okay.
I think we're good
I
here.
can't believe it stayed that long.
I know.
They usually suck the batteries out of it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well-
And my hands are not cold anymore because they're completely numb and they feel okay.
There you go.
So to start off our investigation, we wanted to start in the cell block. This is the cell block where James Earl Ray was held. Thomas Zooman Husky, which is a serial killer who I actually investigated on my last trip to Knoxville. That video is on the channel, you can go check out now. It's just hard to explain when you're sitting there in a cold, pitch black, abandoned prison where some of the worst were held, where unspeakable acts of violence, murder, assault took place on a daily basis. The energy in those buildings, it may sound quiet, but it feels loud, if that makes sense. So let's cut now to the beginning of what would turn out to be a very dark night. Okay, everybody, so now that you've seen the tour and you kind of understand a little bit more about this place, you can understand why I feel like this is one of the darkest places I've ever been to. Not only was this place notoriously violent, but it was inmate on inmate murder, prison guard on inmate murder. People were torturing each other, and the state of Tennessee, the government has... Oh, someone just came out of this cell.
Yeah, right here. The flux.
But the state of Tennessee has tried to cover up a lot of the terrible things that happened here, and you have to go back and remember that this place was built in the shape of an upside down cross. So there's been a lot of what some would call demonic activity here. I mean people getting possessed, attacked, scratched, shoved. It's really, really an eerie vibe in these buildings. But we're right now in one of the cell blocks. James Earl Ray, the man who assassinated MLK, his cell is right here. That's actually really strange.
Right here, 28.
Yeah. His cellmate seemed to just step out of the cell. But to start off this investigation, we are going to just sit and listen for a little bit at the bottom of the cell block before making our way up to the top where that massacre happened. We're then going to go to the Demon's Lair, the auditorium, then make our way to D Block, the death house, and finish out the investigation in a surprise location that none of us have even been to. So, how are you feeling tonight, man?
Well, it's extremely cold for one thing, but wow, just what the tons of history here. Obviously, once again, brutal history. 10,000 deaths, or probably a lot more than that. People buried all over the place around here in the hills, on the grounds. The creeper thing was what she explained was creepy.
Creeper, right when you said that?
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's let's get going, huh?
Yeah.
It's definitely cold and creepy. Okay.
To anybody here in the Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, the prison, inmates, prison guards, serial killers, rapists, anybody, we want to talk to you tonight. I want to introduce myself. My name is Colin.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're right now here at the bottom of the cell block, but wherever you are in here, if you could make a noise, use your voice, shut a door, shake a door, walk towards us. We also have these little, if you see these lights in the center of the floor, if you walk towards any of those lights and touch them, we'll be able to see that you're here with us.
If you're in your cells, can you come out of the cells and interact with us? And all these lights that are on, you can go around them and touch them. Let us know you're here. Once again, we're just trying to verify you're here, recognize you.
Are you in one of these cells? The cell right next to you.
I'm going to step out of the cell. Join me.
Where are you in here? We're not prison guards. We just want to talk to you. You can tell us where you are. We're not going to hurt you either. Obviously, you're dead. If anything, you'd be the one that would hurt us.
With this tool, we should be able to hear your voice if you speak to us.
move a door, bang on the screen, anything.
Burial.
Burial?
That's weird, considering how they don't even know who all is buried here.
Right.
Are you buried here? Can you touch one of these red lights? If your body is buried here somewhere?
It is like deadly quiet.
That's crazy. Okay.
Michael.
Okay, Michael.
I know there were probably a lot of Michaels in the Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, but this Michael's story was pretty interesting. Basically, this man named Michael Henderson escaped from custody when he was on a work release program, and he lived on the run for 16 years before he was recaptured. He actually managed to father children, start a new family, start a new life, but eventually, sadly, something got tripped up in his plan, and he got sent back to prison. And guess where he ended up? Right there at Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. Now, like I said, there were probably a lot of Michaels here, but this story to me was just pretty interesting.
Michael? If there's an inmate named Michael with us, or a guy named Michael, can you let us know that you're here, that we know your name, by giving us some sort of a sign? It is unbelievably quiet in here. It's wild, dude, isn't it?
Just like, so quiet.
I was hung.
I was hung.
It's on.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael. Michael, what cell were you in here? What's the number of the cell that you were here?
Wait, remember she said that an inmate in this area was hung and set on fire?
Now this house death row inmates down this walk here. Now I think it was cell 6. One of the inmates supposedly hung himself and set himself on fire. Now I think he must have had a helping hand with that, because I don't know how you hang yourself and set yourself on fire.
Not, you know.
Or vice versa for that.
Were you hung and set on fire?
Okay, that
Green.
Okay, now, what if we had the cell though count? Michael, were you housed in this cell here?
Maybe the green means yes.
Yeah, right.
We hear you.
Okay. So, yeah, but Michael, if you were housed in this cell right here, number 27, can you tell us yes or no on this device right in front of you here?
Just turn it green for yes or red for no.
Green is yes, red is no. Go ahead and tell us which one.
Michael, if this is you, we really just want to know that you're here and you can talk to us. You can feel comfortable with us.
Okay, well.
Oh, Thomas Husky, the zoo man.
Was that his name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Was in that cell. The serial killer that
Next. James O'Reilly.
I did a video.
Oh, wait a second. Was it there or here?
It might be here.
It might be here.
Well, in the eyes of the law, Knoxville's first known serial killer got away with murder. It was 18 years ago this week that a jury deadlocked in the trial of Tommy Lee Husky.
Stand up, Foreman.
There was evidence, even a confession.
Stand up and look at him and say you are guilty of every charge.
But Knoxville's first serial killer case will always be unsolved. It was October 1992, the week before Halloween, when these woods off Cahaba Lane turned into a crime scene.
It's like you go over here and here's a body. Then you look over here and you say, oh my God, there's another body. And then you go back over here and you find skeletal remains.
Investigators later identified the victims as 4 women: Patricia Rose Anderson, Patricia Johnson, Darlene Smith, and Susan Stone. They'd been raped, bound, and strangled. That would help lead investigators to a man named Tom Husky, known to local prostitutes as the Zoo Man.
I definitely did not expect it to be this isolated. I think it's like very creepy because this is like the just dead end of a long ass road. So if someone comes like down here, I'm fucked. They could trap me in like really easily. Okay, so I'm out here trying to talk to the spirits of any woman who may have been murdered by Thomas Husky. What's your name? Is this Susan?
Yes, it's me.
Yes, it's me, Susan! Susan! How many people were murdered out here? Tom! Tom! No way! No f***ing way! No way! His name's Thomas, the killer. Thomas Husky. So it was Thomas. No way! We got Tom! That's his name, was Thomas Husky! That's weird. I did a whole video on the Zoo Man that's on my channel.
Strangled.
Okay, so what happened?
That's what Zoo Man did. He strangled
No, are
women.
you serious?
Yeah, I got that same response out of his dumping grounds. Especially because I've heard like cracking branches in the woods. I don't know if it's an animal, if it's somebody out there. Choking. I'm pretty sure they were strangled back here. I'm not even lying, guys. I'm not even lying. You were choked? Can you tell me more? Buried. Oh my God. Choked, pushed around, buried out here. That's literally exactly what happened. He strangled women.
Thomas, the Zoo Man?
Thomas Zoo Man Husky was an
Zoo Man
American
Husky.
serial killer from Knoxville.
Okay.
Who murdered, I believe, 4 women, and he dumped them all in this one area off of a road called Cahaba Lane here in Knoxville. I went there for a video a couple months ago.
Wow. So actually from Knoxville.
He's from Knoxville.
Bizarre.
And
Tom.
yeah.
And then.
We make the noises.
Okay. All right. Well,
But
maybe
that's really weird that
Yeah.
last time when I was at his area, I got the name Tom and strangulation. So
Okay.
if he was right here, it's like maybe it's a prison. He's not dead, but maybe it's a prisoner that remembers him telling him about it.
Yeah.
Because he never was tried or convicted for the murders.
Okay. So maybe it's Michael
Michael.
talking about Tom.
Yeah.
So Tom, he was housed though here.
Right here.
So, and this is James Earl Ray right next to him. So, who do you think that we're dealing with?
Happened here.
Okay. So, would that be the fire or the hanging of Michael?
I guess. I mean, look at. I was hung, strangled, happened here.
Yeah. I mean, you know, those are pretty violent terms.
All of them are.
So.
And there was public hangings here too. Remember? She was saying.
Yep.
So Michael. That's like what she said in the interview. The guy committed, took his own life, but she thinks that someone did it to him and set him on fire.
Right.
Were you burned too? Is that who we're talking to? The man who people think hung himself and was set on fire? Maybe this will be a little easier to communicate with.
What is that?
Flashlight.
Basement.
Basement.
Don't go.
Don't go to the hole.
Who's warning us not to go to the basement? Why not? Who's warning us not to go there?
There's a flashlight right there on the jail cell door. I know you know what a flashlight is. If your name is Michael, can you tap on that flashlight or grab a hold of it? It'll light up and it'll show us that you're here.
Stomach.
Oh, immediately, bro. Okay, Keith, turn it back. Oh. Michael, were you hung in here?
It's kind of weird, my stomach.
My stomach hurts too.
No, remember, I've just been telling you that since I ate. We had
mine. I was
panda
just
food
thinking
tonight.
It hurts.
Oh.
He was hungry.
It's the first time in months that my stomach's been weird. At the acid in my stomach. That's weird.
Michael, we're going to probably move on soon to another part of this prison because I think you might want to be... Oh. Can you turn that off? I want to ask you a few questions. If this is a man named Michael, can you light that up if you were murdered here? Thank you. Can you light that up?
Died in battle.
Can you light that up if it was another inmate who killed you? Oh, that was a maniac. Can you light that up really bright if your body is still here somewhere in the prison? Oh.
That was really bright. It's just like full.
Yeah. Can you turn it back off, Michael, please? Oh. Okay, I want to ask you.
We can see you all.
I can see you all.
Michael, is there something bad here in this prison? Thank you. Can you turn that back off?
You saw me.
Thing's going crazy all of a sudden.
Okay.
Michael, can you turn that light on if there's a demon in this prison? Okay, can you turn it back off? Thank you. Okay, Michael, if there's something that we should be afraid of or somebody in here, can you light it up really bright? We want to make sure we know what we're dealing with. Maybe you can help us. Even brighter than that if it's dangerous. I feel a cold coming. Even colder in here.
Freezing. God, it's just like so quiet here.
I know.
Like, what the heck?
Michael, I think we're gonna have to go now. You've stopped using the flashlight and no one's touching any of our devices. I think we're gonna have to go to an upper floor so you can follow us up there. Is there anybody up there that wants us to come up there?
I'm very lonely here.
Very lonely here.
There's the light.
Sorry, Michael. It does seem like a very lonely place to be stuck.
It's kind of like very lonely here. Like there's just not anybody here.
Yeah, it seems.
You know what I mean?
It seems like there's one guy who's just kind of like.
Yeah, it's like it's really lonely here.
Can you tell us where they are here in the building? The rest of the inmates or the demon? Are they upstairs?
Yeah, I think we should.
I think we should go to
We
the
need to move
cafeteria.
on.
You want to go?
This is just a lonely place, man. Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Well,
Is this yours?
All right, so we've been here like 30 minutes and it's just quiet as all can be. But honestly, the first time that I was here, this is exactly what it felt like in this area. Then when I started to go up is where it got worse, and then the top floor was like I was hearing movement and noises. So I think we take it to the next level.
Let's do it.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
You want to light that up to say goodbye?
I guess that's no.
Yeah, he's like gone already.
It's like not just performing for us, I guess.
Crazy. Well, let's pack it up and
Okay.
time to
Let's
move
go.
up.
Let's move on.
Floor by floor.
Okay.
Worse by worse. Or worse and worse.
At this point, we went upstairs where the massacre took place, where the supposed demonic activity is, and really is where things really started to go haywire. Oh, okay. We got some activity here. Hear that knock? Okay, this is where we needed to come. Oh, the other way. Both of them going on.
What the f?
Okay, both of them. Oh, and the knocks. This is the area. Ooh, I'm
We're
now
just setting. I
finally-
just set these up.
Finally feeling something here.
Look at, they're going off in the same like energy.
Okay.
Hey, can you step away from that area?
Okay, this is the area of the demon area that supposedly, well, the person was possessed, right?
Yeah.
Through there.
What the hell, dude? These were both just sitting there doing nothing.
I'm gonna set this here and go.
This battery is dead on this. I gotta swap out.
What was that?
Knock behind us down here.
Dude, there's a lot of bangs here. Okay, this is where we needed to come. So back here. Okay, what else can we set up here?
If you're in there, can you move something like slam a door? What the hell, man?
All right, so to explain what just happened, we were just up here. We got up top, and I just set these REM pods up, one at a time, 1, 2, 3 down the hall, down the hallway. And the moment that I stepped away, they both started going off.
Look at this. And this is the demon. Oh, dude, they're both yellow.
Oh,
Oh, that one stopped. If that's you, can you stop? Step away. Go further down the hallway, please.
Yeah, behind me.
I mean, is this not insane?
Yeah, I mean,
If you're touching that thing, stop. Go. I'm gonna have to turn it off.
This does not happen. And the fact that it just both of them going so crazy, one of them stopped.
Is that you? That. God, this area scares me. Hey, I'm gonna have to shut this off. What? What the f? Okay, I'm gonna reset this one too. Down here is the rest of the prison. What the prison? What the prison? What the?
So this is the area where, right down here, down this hallway, where those guys got out of their cell and went through and shot all of the inmates that were of a different race than them. murdered multiple people in their cells. They couldn't escape a horrific crime. And then down this hallway where the REM pods are going off is where the evil thing, the creeper.
Colin, there's one on the door actually to your left. Just popped up right next to you.
Oh, God.
Oh. Just. Where'd you go?
Where'd you go?
God, my eyes are so. Oh, jeez. You're there. Okay. You're there.
It just disappeared and went down there.
Oh, there's a black orb that just big. Okay.
If you're around, can you make a really loud noise and let us know where you are?
Right next to us.
Okay, so we're gonna do an experiment right now where we sit and listen to the noises in here. That's one of the big things, is that you can hear so many noises. And we're gonna run 3 spirit talkers at the same time, which is an app that is kind of like an Ovilus, if you know what that is. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm really on edge up here. I'm like, I don't want to go down to the demon hole.
We haven't even gone down there yet. Hear the footsteps.
If you're in here, can you make a noise and tell us where you are? You can run towards us, walk towards us, bang on your jail cell, move something.
Rev. It's very lonely here. Grandmother. Healthy.
So I get that it's lonely here. Who are we talking to? Can you tell me your name or what you are?
Nick.
Nick. Or Mick.
What is it?
Mick. Mickey? Is that your name?
Step out and talk to us again. Show yourself. Oh, back behind me.
It's ancient.
It's ancient. Could you go like this? This is where the dudes.
Anxiety.
Anxiety? Yeah, I do have anxiety.
The children are listening.
Oh, remember
Control.
Remember the children of Brushy?
Wood.
Yeah. The children are listening. Control wood. Also, evil spirits sometimes take the form of kids.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, down here. I thought I heard that down here.
Which direction do you want us to go towards?
Yeah, it's after that. But there's nothing right there, right? No.
Do you want us to go down there? We're reporting the light? Or down here? I'm getting creepy vibes all of a sudden.
Why are these like so quiet here? They're going just nuts.
Honestly, dude.
We're friends.
Oh, this one too.
It switched. It got closer to us.
Oh man. Oh. Okay.
Pagan.
Oh, look at it go nuts. Okay.
Pagan? Who's talking?
Who's talking?
Jeff is, and Colin.
My name's Colin.
I'm Jeff. All right, this is the way they want us to go.
Yeah.
That's why. Oh, that was like back here again. What is back here?
Hear me.
I think they want us to follow this down here.
So the demonic area upstairs, that area just feels so off. It was a quiet night. There weren't as many, bangs or things moving, footsteps as we've had in other locations. But let me tell you, if you were to actually go up there yourself like we did and sit all the way up in that room, you're 3 stories up, you're inside of a prison, it's a maze to even get in there. It just feels like there's somebody there almost breathing down your neck. And to me, sometimes when it's really quiet, that means that there is somebody there. And maybe they're more of a powerful spirit. They're able to control what they do and manipulate technology in ways that other spirits can't. So yeah, unexplainable up there. Just dark, creepy, bad energy. And this was the part of the night where Jeff, I feel, began to be affected. And you could kind of notice it on camera. He's an empath and he can feel emotions unlike I can, but he's really got, his abilities have grown recently. And as you're gonna see, this investigation just got so damn dark.
Yeah, I just set this one up. And the other one's not going off. Okay, 1 second. I know that you know that we're here. Okay, we went out and left it running.
We're back.
It is creepy in here.
Ritual.
Recording on that. Right when we came in here. Ritual.
Alright, so we're upstairs right now and so many noises. We're in the area where the creeper lives here in the building. I'm interested in what this darkness here is, and obviously the REM pods, the noises have been calling us down here. So we're gonna do a DR60. Put it right here. Okay, I'm straight up gonna ask, are you a human spirit?
If you are evil and had possessed that person right over here on the steps, just let us know that you're evil by saying something related to evil.
Did you hurt that person in here?
I'm talking to the creeper. Are you inhuman or are you a spirit of a human?
This is so creepy.
Yeah. My nose is just going like crazy, running like crazy.
Do you like to hurt people?
I'm straight up gonna ask, are you a human spirit? If you are evil and have possessed that person right over here on the steps, just let us know that you're evil by saying something related to evil. Did you hurt that person in here? talking to the creeper. Are you in unit or are you scared of unit? Do you like to hurt people?
Well, a couple growls on there.
Yeah.
Okay, whoever's in here, I have to say, I think that you can do better than that. So we're gonna do this one more time. Okay, I'm gonna set it all the way over here. Okay. 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 I'm genuinely curious to whoever or whatever is in here. What's your name? What do you call yourself?
Did you kill anybody in here?
Why are you so angry?
Do you believe in God?
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
I'm going to say, I'll do the other. Should I say the prayer?
Right when you said, should I say the prayer?
Yeah, I'm going to say it. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. How about Hail Mary? Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now at the hour of our death. Amen.
That one stopped.
Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, ever shall be.
Step away from there.
So you don't like prayers, I'm guessing. Why not make this other one go off then?
It's like it's purposely trying to ruin our audio to piss us off.
Yeah, it's right by the ER60. Can you stop? Move away from those lights so we can talk to you?
God.
Well, what are you going to get? It's like it doesn't want to do it here today.
I know.
Turn it off.
It's all gonna be that noise from that point. If you're in here trying to be scary, can you just make a really loud noise? Are you out there in the cells? If you're so big and bad, growl for me.
If you're so big and bad, growl for me.
You okay, man?
No, just my eye. A cold hand helps my eye. My left eye hurts.
You know, apart from some interesting REM pod activity, some growling responses on there, it's not that scary in here. You know? I'm just gonna say I think whatever's in here is kind of a wimp. We're trying to call you out. Or if you're a good prisoner, you can come talk to us too, somebody who's not a demon. We're gonna do what's called an Estes session now. I'm gonna wear a blindfold and headphones and listen to spirit box audio while Jeff asks questions. Ready?
I'm ready.
Anybody who's in here, please come and speak with me.
Can you hear me? Okay, I want to ask you more about James Earl Ray. You know what's
Satan.
Okay.
It's easy for us.
So when you say Satan, what do you mean?
Gutted, selfish.
Okay. Do you know James Earl Ray's cell number?
I don't care.
What do you care about?
Churches.
Okay. Why? Why would you care about churches? What's your connection?
What's going on in there? Lies.
Okay. Well, if you're saying you're Satan and care about churches and say everything's inside them is lies, is that what you mean?
Can't.
Did you hurt somebody up here? Possess somebody?
Don't move. This is too good.
Okay. I'm not going to move. What's going to be too good? What are you going to do?
I'm waiting.
For what?
For him.
For him? For who?
Blonde. He's next. Ugh, I don't like that.
What would you do to him?
Get rid of.
Why?
Wipe it clean. I hate this place.
Are you one of the prisoners that were here, that died here? Or are you actually supposed to be a demonic entity in this area? Which one are you, or neither?
I'm not.
You're not what?
Ooh, a creepy voice that was like, someone.
You're not.
Or solo. I don't know.
You're not someone or solo. Who are you?
Oh, and a male scream that was like, created.
The first time the music box just went off. Did you set the music box off? Are you coming in here? It's the first time that went off this whole night. Are you?
Hello?
Hi. Did you come in the room?
It's a horror movie.
Okay.
You dishonored your family.
What are you talking about? How?
Counterfeit. You're a liar. Stupid.
Okay, is this directed at me?
You're one of them.
One of them? What do you mean?
God hates. I have a headache.
Okay, if you came in the room...
I love you.
Okay. Make the music box go off again if that were you. That's here.
I actually feel really weird doing this.
That's a really weird Estes
really
session.
f***ing cold. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, as we speak. Chills, I just heard the word chills. I am getting full arms and shoulders. Dangerous. Dude, I'm like actually, every f***ing hair on my body is standing up.
Well, something...
Colin!
Something came in the room because that music box went off. Who are you that came in the room?
I'm here.
I know. Who are you?
Too much.
No.
I'll never say.
Well, how are we supposed to talk to you if we don't know who you are?
You're f***ed. Black.
This is just a weird night here. I'm not really sure. Sometimes this happens. It's
11 of us.
Okay. But why are you up here? Why this room? Why do you hang out in this room?
Person's right.
Okay, it's your right to hang out here, but why do you like it here?
Animal idiot victim. This week.
I think there's just so much that's happened here. So many storylines.
There's only one.
Only one storyline? What?
Shut the fuck up. My arm hurts.
Are you the creeper? This is where the creeper's supposed to be.
I want you. Killed. Us.
Well, we're protected, so I'm not really sure what you want out of this conversation. What do you want us to know?
Car crash.
What does that mean, though? What do you mean a car crash?
They won't get rid of me. Morbid.
How many people am I talking to?
20.
20 of you. Can one of you step forward?
James.
Okay, good. James, you step forward. James, did you die here? Or were you a prisoner here?
Just kidding.
Okay. Then who's talking then?
2 laughs. Fuck you. Again.
Yeah, I don't... You seem like really uncooperative. This is an Estes word.
Scream eater. Pussy.
Okay. Yeah, it's just again... Are all of you just kind of chiming in?
Call the police.
I'm so cold.
Give me 10 minutes. I killed. We're getting along. I'll take everything.
Okay, again, what is one thing you want to tell me directly?
That's what it said.
What?
Please give me your son. Please give me your son.
Well, no, okay, no. That'd be Colin. You can't have
No,
my
you
son.
can't have me, buddy.
Exactly, nope.
He's tired.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna leave, and we're never gonna come back here and talk to you. So what do you want to say at the end? What do you want to say?
Ugh, I'm right behind you, like that. Oh, you can't see me.
Okay. Well,
he's watching.
I am so cold. I got it's
I
so
feel so
cold.
creepy.
So cold around my legs. Like people online. This is freezing in here.
The secret of creepy. Yeah. Oh my god, I have a male voice. Go! Wait!
there's too many of you that are talking tonight. I really don't even know what to make sense of it.
I'm taking form.
Of what? Form, like a form of what?
Being held hostage.
What was that story? Remember that guard that had his head decapitated? And they said that in the interview, they said they held his body hostage. I'm like, what would that solve? Why would you
try praying?
Okay.
You ask.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy
cry.
Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread and forgive us our sins, for we are trespassers. Damn, I'm sorry again.
Say a prayer? Again,
okay.
Prayer.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, blessed the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now at the hour of death. Amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy
These
Spirit.
voices,
Like that. World without end. Amen.
Right? Like literally, like a male voice, like.
I'm gonna keep doing it. Our Father, who
That's
art
me.
in heaven. You're not. No, you're not the Father.
Doesn't work.
So.
You see?
If you're if you're all powerful, step forward and tell me then who you are right now. If you hang out up here, who are you?
I'm not here.
Well, where are you then? Where are you?
You
then?
know.
Where?
I could be.
What?
I'm waiting.
You're kind of boring actually. I think we have to kind of end this. Are you gonna say anything that makes sense?
I'll be with you.
No, you won't. Nope.
Creepy laughs.
Yeah. Did you know that I'm ordained? I can't even speak. It's cold. I am an ordained minister. Did you realize that? What do you think about that?
Jesus is dead.
Okay. No. Jesus is actually everlasting life.
Like that.
You're just a lot weaker. That's. Gosh, you know.
Money.
I have gotten just.
I'm down.
Frozen, man. I don't know what. If it's worse.
I'll direct you. No lights.
Okay. I'm actually feeling kind of sick. I think because the cold.
No lights again.
Have you made it colder in here? Are you trying to freeze me? Tell me if you're trying to freeze me out.
Your son. Dead. Wife. 2 at once.
Okay.
Both legs. Broken. This will happen. The morning.
Okay, that's not gonna happen. Oh. I don't know. I'm just like frozen, man. But you just didn't make a lot of sense.
Just a lot of
all over the board.
I'm feeling weird.
Yeah, it's just freaking ice cold up here, man.
I think we should go to the D block, to the death house.
Yeah, this place just had me feeling really off. I really even looked at myself on the monitor and I didn't seem like myself. I know I was angry. I was probably feeling and channeling a lot of these emotions that people felt there. And it was after that really that we decided to go to the death house. And when I look back at the footage now, I do look different. I don't really recognize kind of the normal Jeff, if you will. Something was definitely off with me that night.
All right, so it's 2:40 in the morning. We only have until 3 here. This night has just flown by so fast, but Jeff has got his hood on. Earlier today, when we were at the crime museum, we bought these police badges right here. So we are going to be wearing these in this last part of our investigation to see if it triggers any sort of activity. Right now we're here in the D block. Now this is where, if you'll remember, recently the creeper's been seen, some violent activity has been occurring. This was the death house. This is where a lot of the really violent inmates were held, and this was just not a good place when the prison was in operation. But we're gonna do a spirit box and walk around. If there is anybody here in the D block, can you give us a sign that you're here with us? If you're the creeper, the demon, we'd love to talk to you.
It's gone.
Maybe you're down here. All of our devices were just going crazy. Where'd you go? It's so quiet tonight.
Yes. Wish you'd just hear like, yeah.
You don't even make noise.
People just know that sometimes things just don't. I mean, there's still a lot that's happened tonight. It's just.
Yeah. It's just like the vibe is so quiet.
It's different. It's not active tonight as it has been, it seemed like, with other people other nights.
You don't do a spirit box. If you're here with us, can you tell me your name? Sounds weird. Hello? What do you think about us being cops? This is your time to get revenge on a cop. I'm right here. No, nothing on the spirit box. I have a device that you might be able to speak to us with. Is there anybody here with us?
Team.
What do you mean by team? It's cold. You want to have some?
What were you in prison here for? What crime did you commit?
Protection.
What would that mean?
This is just a strange prison to me. I don't know. It's like a strange energy. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, yeah, a lot of bad things happen here, but it's like nobody wants to communicate tonight. We've gotten some, but
Last time I was here, it felt very different.
it's just a different night.
You think we're protection? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? We're gonna have to leave soon.
Injury.
Injury. Protection, injury. If any of this makes sense to anybody online, it's not making any sense to me. This is your last chance. It's like literally the quietest buildings imaginable tonight. Like just
like even like any creaks or anything.
Yeah, no,
like
it's just silent, like dead silence.
What the deal is. I mean, the REM pod went crazy sometimes and so forth, but it's like.
But yeah, I'm talking about like just the building. Like
yeah,
when you're here, it's just.
I know. It's just people online. It's just, for me, it's just like, this is about as cold as I've been actually. I mean, Minnesota's cold, but it's like.
Impressive.
You know, I got warm. I'm able to get in the car and get warm. This is like, I'm like hypothermic right now. I'm shivering. Right. Nothing makes sense either.
No.
I mean, the Estes method was just weird. And that's weird, you know? I mean, if anybody online puts it together, let us know. But it's so quiet.
Yeah, I mean.
Crazy.
We're
all the suffering here.
We're supposed to be done in 3 minutes, so.
Yeah. Well,
I guess we better wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you to whoever talked to us, wherever you are in these buildings. Hopefully we can go back and listen and try to make sense of something that you tried to tell us. And if there is an evil, demon, creature, whatever you want to call it, thing here, do not follow us, and please stay here. Like that. Just
yeah.
Weird, man.
Okay, signing off?
Yeah.
What?
I actually thought I heard something right there. But... Alright, I guess let's sign off now. Stay spooky and good night, everybody. So after we did the death house, we packed all of our stuff up. We thought that our time was up at 3, but it turns out that it was up at 4. You know, obviously we didn't get to go see so much of the prison. We didn't get to go do the hole. We didn't get to do the auditorium, so many of the other buildings. And Jeff was just he wasn't feeling like himself. And I wanted him to stay out and actually get better. You can see in some of that footage, there's something in his eyes that looked almost off. And I think it's the energy of that place. I think it's the just terrible, the evil that lingers over all those buildings. But at that point, I decided, screw it, I'm gonna do it alone. So I got my camera and an EVP recorder, and I headed up to the very back of the prison, to the Supermax area where the murderers, the really, really bad, the worst of the worst people were held. And I headed into that area alone, which is a dumb decision looking back at it because of what happened, but I wanted some answers. Hey everybody, it's Colin here. So as you know, last week was one of the most stressful weeks of my life. I'm still working on that video to put out for you guys, but I wanted to release this one first so that we can get back to the schedule. I just want to thank everybody for all the love and support last week, and unfortunately my channel's views, everything are down from what happened. So tonight, it's really important for you to help me out by liking this video, leaving me a comment, and, you know, obviously subscribing, sharing this video out on your social media platforms. Just let people know that we're back. To enter tonight's contest for the free gift bag giveaway we're still gonna do on this week, comment "Stay Spooky" in the comment section, or "I love the Paranormal Files," either or. Like the video, and yeah, we're gonna pick a winner. I'm gonna give you 10 seconds now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So yeah, once again, I just want to thank you guys so much for the love and support, for everybody who tweeted, who helped me get my channel back. It means the world to me. And yeah, I just love you guys so much, and this just showed how strong our spooky family is out there. So yeah, anyways, let's get back. Let's finish this video where I do the most insane, dumb thing that I've done in a long time, and
yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'm glad we're back.
Okay, I'm gonna be real honest here. This is a little bit insane what I'm about to do. I swore I would not do this place alone again, but I also told you guys that I would go back to that Supermax part of the prison. And so here I am. Jeff has been acting really, really strange. I don't know if it's something here that's affecting him, but you know, what I've learned over the past few years is that Jeff is a super empath. And sometimes he feels things stronger, way stronger than I do. And I think he's really feeling the negativity of this place. Like, just look at some of that footage. But I said that I would come. Oh God, this is fucking terrifying. I said that I wanted to at least come enter this building where the Supermax prison was, where the worst of the worst criminals were. And so here I am. I'm gonna do it completely alone. It's 3:30 in the morning and I'm gonna do a short EVP. How the fuck do I get in here? Oh my God. Ah! Bird. Oh, this door's locked. Bird. This door's welded shut. Oh, fuck. Don't tell me it's this one. Now, what in the hell? Am I stupid? Maybe I went into the wrong area? This building is very scary. There's the death house over there. Maybe if I walk up here? God. Oh, so she told me to go up and yank the door open. She said she came up earlier and unlocked the door, but she didn't open it. And I'm looking at it right now and it's open. Okay, Colin, you got this. Wow. Oh, this is crazy. All right, everybody, I'm completely alone in here. Okay. Is there anybody in here with me? Oh my God. Guys, this is really f***ing scary. I heard that there is somebody in here who looks not like a human. Is that true?
If there is somebody in here, what was your crime? Could you make some sort of a noise and let me know where you are in here? What about the person in this cell? Oh, my light died. My light died alone in the dark in the prison. My light died.
I have gotten just
I'm down.
frozen, man. I don't know what. If it's worse.
I'll direct you. No lights.
Okay. I'm actually feeling kind of sick. I think because the cold.
No lights again.
Have you made it colder in here? Are you trying to freeze me?
Oh my god, dude. All I have is my phone light. F this. F this. Okay, did you just kill my light? Okay, I'm done. Thanks for talking to me. Okay, well that was f***ing terrifying. I'm excited to see what that EVP says, but oh my god, I almost had a heart attack. I had to actually try to calm down. That building is huge. It's very scary. That's where the worst of the worst people were. Like she said, a guy who murdered and had sex with his grandmother at the same time, amongst other things. I mean, I don't know if you can see this because it's so let me see if I can. And also, just to show you guys, so you know that I'm not making shit up to make that moment more spooky, here's the power. My light just f***ing fried. There we go. Now, isn't this creepy as shit? I was just in there completely alone, and it looks way brighter on camera. Here's the rest of the prison. Better get on the road. Oh! Hello? Did you guys hear that? This place is genuinely so creepy. I mean, look at this shit. Like, it goes all the way from over there. Keep in mind, it's 3:30 a.m., so this is the nighttime sky. I'm just really low exposure. But it goes all the way here. There's the death house. Up here to this gigantic Supermax thing. All the way over there to the auditoriums and the pits. You know what? Just to give you guys something at the very end, since we didn't get that much, I'm gonna walk through the death house alone too. And do an EVP. Did you hear that? This is not going to be a long journey because I really don't want to do this alone, and all I have is my phone light. Okay. Keep in mind it's
It's way darker on mine. Okay. Is there anybody in here with me? Why are you so angry? Every time I look one way, the other way is completely black. The other way is completely black. The other way is completely black. Okay. Is the creeper in here? I'm sorry that you feel so angry. I wish I could help you somehow. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Do you have anything left to say? Can you make a noise if you're in there? It's just me now. Okay. Well, that was definitely enough creepiness for today. Jesus, this place is terrifying.
So at the end of being done with Brushy, I just felt like kind of one of the worst. I told Colin it was the worst feeling I've had from any investigation leaving. With all the dark energy, the nasty, negative vibes I felt sick. I felt off, as I said. But, it's not a place I really enjoyed to go to investigate. Would I go back? I would, but to date, it's the place I felt the worst that I ever have.
So Brushy Mountain is a special place. It's an evil place. It's one of those locations that I would totally describe to you as being through and through negative, evil, unwelcoming, and frankly terrifying. It's not a place for the faint of heart, especially if you only have two people like Papa Spooks, Jeff and I. It's so massive that you can't even begin to cover one building when you're there for only a few hours, but I'd say we contacted something there, but I don't know what. It seems like there is that, that negativity that hangs over the prison, but in my opinion, you don't always have to be talking to somebody. You don't always need a name. I feel like in places like Brushy Mountain or other, infamous prisons or places where there was tons of violence, the negativity over so many years compounds and forms almost an entity of its own, something that's just pure negative energy that can talk to you, that can interact with you, and does interact with you. And that's what I felt like we tapped into that night. No one prisoner in specific, no one victim of a crime. We tapped into the entire prison. And it's haunted us. Jeff left, he said, still to this day, that that's the worst he's ever felt on an investigation, and it's not a good place. Brushy Mountain is not a good place, but we did it, we conquered it, and it was a very interesting and spooky night. But it's Colin Brown here. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying our series here. I've wanted to do Brushy Mountain for y'all for a long time, and I'm glad we finally did, but as always, have a good rest of your week, everyone, and stay spooky.